David Trolley. Thank you, David Trolley. Very, very nice. Day by day. Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray. Our guest speaker today needs no introduction to our Unity Center of Davis Community. Reverend Martha Creek has been with us almost since I came. The board of directors invited her in for some consultation in the fall of 2 years ago, I guess it was. It's so hard to keep track of time. And she's was with us a few times, and she's spoken here before, and she joins us now as we continue our look into the naked now. Martha Creek, welcome. So good to have you here. We enjoy your love and your words. Thank you.
Thank you too, Reverend Rich. Thank you, David. That was so moving to me because as I listened to this song and I saw some of you sing along and really uplifted, I think it's the power of the spoken word and what these teachings represent to most of us, that we came into a center somewhere, to a reading somewhere that activated in us our innate, inherent desire to see God more clearly and to see God in all things. And anybody here able to do that yet? Can you see God in your knucklehead neighbor? So progression and practice makes progress. So we're practicing seeing God more clearly. We're practicing loving God more dearly. And to do so that, I do to others what I do to myself. So we pray so desperately, so devotedly to end war while we're still attacking ourselves and still shaming and guilting and blaming ourselves, at war with ourselves. So this is the place we can end war today, to accept our own divinity, to see God more clearly in me, also to see me as a God, as a divine and human being, and to end the war where it can be ended, and then to express that, to follow the teachings, to follow the invitation, to follow the impulse, to follow our own nature. So seeing clearly, loving more dearly, and following more nearly what we've been taught since the beginning of time to do. And another practice then to add in that today is the topic for today is to see then I can do all of these things by using the word and. The power of and as a connector. The mind systematically set everything up as good or bad, better or worse, enough or not enough, instead of it's and, not or. So people are going to respect me, or they better respect me after all I've done for them. Can anybody relate? They better respect me. I'm their mother. They better respect. So this is the internal war, to say it's going to be times of respect and times of disrespect. It's going to be times of they include me and want me around. There's going to be times of they're going to exclude me and not wanting me to be part of it, even wanting me to stay out of it at times. And not one or the other, but both and. So then and can teach us to say yes. It can teach us to say yes when we're not excluded, when we're not included. Yes, this is include this, I've got to include this. I've got to include being excluded. I've got to include being excluded at times. So I use a word when I'm hurt or triggered or feeling bad or sad or pathetic because something didn't go my way, to go sometimes. Sometimes they don't include me. Sometimes they include me. And allows us then to be less polarized, less either or. You're either for me or against me. To say, no, it's both and, that I can be less polarized in this. So I can stay more centered, more balanced, more in the middle, regardless of which way they're going, regardless of which way they're leaning, regardless of what the other is doing. My job is the conversion of my own mind, the transformation of my own heart, the reformation of my own heart, not to reform theirs, but to work here where it's possible, doable, attainable, even though it may not seem like it at times. And teaches us then that we don't get into this old millennial sense of creation of time, either or. So imagine shifting that today, that it's no more either or. Imagine what that one thing would do. Not either or, both and. Drought and flood. So who here wants drought? Who here wants flood? No, no, no droughts, no flood. But are they included? Do droughts happen? Since the beginning of creation. Do floods happen? Yes, since the beginning of creation. So my resistance is what's causing the suffering around this. My resistance, my failure to transform, my failure to include, my failure to integrate, my failure for conversion keeps me at war with things that I have no power over. And the fact that I'm in stress over it is an indicator of what I'm left to integrate. So either I integrate it or I live a disintegrated unease, loss of peace, worry, doubt, terror, mad, righteous. The and also teaches us to be patient. Anybody just love to be patient? That accepts God's timing, not my own timing. That I'm for a quick fix. I want it eased and ease now. Now. It's like, no. There's other processes at play here. Times of grief, of loss, of purification, dark nights of the soul. That's also included. And this is included in my human evolution. This is included in my human becoming. There's no life that's minus some suffering. So then the suffering is included also, to have some patience with that, and that it's normal. It's part of my learning processes. And also leaves us more willing to learn, willing for new insight. So they think this and I think that. Where's the problem? Well, I'm right and they're wrong. That's the problem. My way's a better way than that way. Both ways are included. And they think this and they think that, and all of that is included in the human spectrum. So Anne can give some ease in this to take down and dismantle this old paradigm of right, wrong, good, bad, which is basic to our teachings of coming out of this dualistic thinking, of the duality of the mind that says that is good and that is bad, or that is good and that is evil. And then us high righteous new thought types will say, oh, no, we don't believe in good and evil. Oh, no, that is so fundamental. It's like, of course we do. We call it positive and negative. It's either positive or negative. So we've just painted purple over something beige and called it something different, instead of it's positive and negative. Both are in the human spectrum. Both are in the spectrum of my mind. Both are in the spectrum of my responses. And sometimes I'm going to respond more positively. Sometimes I'm going to respond more negatively. And if I don't judge it, if I don't interpret it, then I'm left closer to God, integrated, that this is all included, and then more able to be who I'm come here to be, to do on the earth what I'm here to do, and to follow thee. And also keeps us from dividing things down in that same old binary system of this works for me and this doesn't, or I'll accept this and I don't accept this, or this is appropriate and this is inappropriate or inappropriate. And the very thing we call inappropriate, when somebody else does it, we're doing it too. But when I do something inappropriate, then I justify it. Or you caused me to, or I was afraid. But when they do it, we get more unforgivable about it. Instead of what's appropriate and inappropriate is an absolute mind-made interpretation of something. It is a value, something I've put on something that doesn't mean that. So I've made up what it means and then believed what I made up. Then I'm going to go out and teach that. Never mind, I forgot to apply it. So let me apply it before I start teaching it or preaching it. They're certainly expecting anybody else to follow me. And also is the antidote, can be the antidote to help us to live in times of uncertainty, in times of fear, and can help us live in what looks like imperfect situations, in very, very scary situations. To say this too, this is included. This is based on reality, what it takes for evolution, what it takes for conversion, what it takes for purification. This is included. So in times like this, Anne can be a helper to say, I don't like this. I don't love this. I would not vote for this. I don't condone this. And this is part of it. This is included. So and is really the bridge or the tool or the miracle or whatever you want to call it for inclusivity. Now we preach and teach inclusivity and we apply it very little. So then true inclusivity is not just to include someone of a different race or someone of a different gender orientation or someone from a different class or someone with a different stance. But true inclusivity is inclusivity of it all, of everything known to creation. And the more we can include it, the more inclusive we can be, the naturally more loving and compassionate we're going to be. This also applies to ourselves, to have inclusivity toward ourselves, that we include our warts and wrinkles and our darkness and our times and ways that we're not proud of, to include those too, and to integrate them. And to the degree that we can, then we're able to do that for others. So judge ye, least you understand that what you're judging is within you. So then let me include that. So then how I treat myself is how I'm going to treat others. So when somebody in your life you may know that's known for firing off some kind of punitive text or punitive email, it's like punitive people send punitive text. Punitive people send punitive emails, phone calls. Loving people, compassionate people, people dedicated to seeing God and loving God and following God are going to respond even to those texts with discernment, with pause, with more clarity, with grace, with compassion. So regardless of what they do, we're not going to end punitive actions in the world by being punitive in response to it. So a way that we can end war, a way I can, to not be as punitive as they are. It also, Anne, demands that our contemplations, our teachings, our attitudes, our platitudes, our affirmations become action. You know, I tease, many of you probably heard it now, that's why they won't let me lead the peace song. Some of the churches are still using that peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with her. And as soon as she apologizes, I'll have peace. And as soon as they don't oppose me, I'll have peace. And as soon as they think like me, I'll have peace. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Not dependent on what they do or what they think. The only way that I can bring these new thought teachings that we use into action, our theories, our words move from contemplation or platitudes or attitudes actually into action. This and is, of course, obviously can heal some of this, these isms of us, the classisms, the sexism, the racism, that this and is the healing balm for this, a healing balm for this. And then and keeps us from some of our false choices. Lead us not into the temptation of the either or mind. Lead us not into the temptation of the dual mind. Lead us not into error thinking. Deliver us, and there is the power, and there is the glory, and there is the kingdom, and there is a transformation, and there is the conversion. When my mind, your mind can find God in all things, and will find God in all things. So think about it today. Myrtle Fillmore's words come to mind. She says something like, you have within you to create this world that you speak about. You have within you the power right here and right now to do this. You. And she says, get at it. Get at it. So instead of, oh, not me, surely not me, let them do it. It's like, me, get at it. And then to the degree that I can, I live transformed, happier, more love, faith, will, zeal, imagination, power, life, order, discernment, letting go, active in the powers. And not until this is met with and this, and that, and that, and that. So I bless you, each and every one of you in your journeys. I bless you in the spiritual community, the miracle that you are, in your ever, ever, ever deepening devotion to living these principles, to see God more clearly, and love all, God and all its creation more dearly, including you, and to follow thee, to follow the impulse of our nature, to put this Dharma into action. I'm for you. I'm cheering you on, and I walk with you. So be it. Blessings be.